Hi, good evening. Welcome, everybody. We'll call the regular Bridgeport City Council meeting for May 27th, 2026 to order. Roll call.
Mayor Robert Matheny.
Present.
Reporter Hank Murray.
Here.
Counselor Jason Campbell.
Here.
Counselor Don Burton.
Here.
Counselor Clayton Rice.
Here.
Counselor Chris Kinney.
Here.
Counselor Jacqueline Rockovich.
Here.
Thank you. If everybody would please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance by Tim Curry, our Emergency Services Director.
Pray with me. Heavenly Father, tonight as we gather to conduct the business of our city, we ask you to grant us wisdom, humility, and compassion in all that we do. We are mindful this week of the sacrifices borne by so many that have served our country. May we never forget their courage, selflessness, and devotion to our freedoms. Help us tonight to remember our shared humanity. We are often divided by anger, fear, and misunderstanding. Teach us to listen with patience, speak with kindness, and lead with integrity. Bless this council and all of our public servants who work daily to serve others. Guide the decisions made here tonight so that they may reflect wisdom, fairness, and a genuine desire to improve the lives of those we represent. May we leave this meeting more committed to peace, service, and respect for one another. In your Son, Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, item 4, approve minutes of the May 11th, 2026 special city council meeting and the May 11th, 2026 regular city council meeting. Is there any action?
So moved as read.
Motion to approve is read.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 5, approve outstanding bills. Is there any action on that?
So moved.
Motion to approve outstanding bills. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 6 is public comments. First is John Lacaria. If you would please go to the mic.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for letting me share a few minutes of my time, your valuable time with you. And I think it's a good subject. Some of you might already be aware of it. Our children. I live at 102 Jennifer Lane. My son-in-law and my daughter, Doug and Giovanna Comer, live at the other end of the lane. And my grandson knows that he can go from Giovanna's house inside the lane down to my driveway, turn around on his bike or scooter and go back. My caregiver, Rhonda, has her daughter, Aubrey, on a bicycle, does the same thing. However, I don't know if any of you are aware of this. I've had these electric bicycles coming down Worthington, down a hill, sometimes side by side, just literally flying, okay? The other day, my caregiver saw probably a 9 or 10-year-old boy and a younger sibling, maybe 5 or 6, riding a golf cart in the road coming down the hill. And my grandson Costa said, "Poppy, please don't say nothing." He said, "You're going to get my friend in trouble." I said, "I'm just trying to hope no one gets hurt." But we've had bicycles, electric bikes, since they've been popular. A lot of these kids have them. Scooters, like I say, golf cart, regular bicycles. But really scares me, a couple of weeks ago, I come out, turned right on Jennifer, where my house is right there on the corner, went down towards Doug's house, went to go up From Avenue. As soon as I went to turn, a bicycle was flying down a hill, electric, and the little boy went like this, and all of a sudden turned and went up on the bank and upset. I got out of the car. I said, "You okay?" "Yeah." I said, "What about your arms, your hand?" I'm okay. I thought I was going to hit your car." You know, I mean, he was literally flying. I mentioned that. The other thing I brought up too, years ago when I first moved at that address, 15, 16 years ago, going up Worthington, after my house, there's a big house up there with like a brick house, 2-story. There was a rumble strip in front of it. It was up for 2 months, and all of a sudden they took it out. They said because the lady didn't want it. I asked someone in the city probably 6, 8 months ago, what do I need to get a rumble strip? That's before all this activity. They said you need 3 people above you, 3 people below you to say it's okay. My thing, I'm asking for maybe an exception, amendment, or whatever, for you all to look at that. It's on it can be on my property. My backyard's probably as big as this room. You could put it in the road on my property. I think it would slow down a lot. We also got, after 5 o'clock, a lot of cars flying up that hill. So she'll agree with me too. It's a matter of time for someone's going to get hurt real bad. I mean, someone's going to get hit on one of those electric bicycles. I think they do 20, 25 miles an hour. And when you see 2 of them, one time there was 3 of them coming down a hill together. And I don't know if they're parents, but like I say, I keep my grandson and her daughter on our street. They got that whole neighborhood up there. So, you know, you think of the old, what was they, mopeds, the old motorcycles. Do they need to be on a main road? Like, are they supposed to have a license? I mean, I didn't know you could do that kind of stuff. If I'm wrong or not, but I'm just hoping maybe you guys will consider something with this speed bumps. And also, there's I think a police officer here. I have no problem. My breezeway points towards Worthington. I have no problem if you want someone to check speed and watch it. They can back in my breezeway and almost not be seen and see anybody going up and down that road if they need to do a study. So I'll give you that also. But that's all I wanted. Was there anything, Rhonda, you wanted to add, or is that?
Yeah. Okay, yes, thank you so much for your comments. I think the city manager is going to give some information out on an ordinance that the city has been working on regarding the e-bike under his report. So please stay, so you can hear that.
Okay.
And then the police chief has heard your comments, and I'm sure that he'll address your needs as appropriate. Okay, thank you, Mr. LeCarry. Rhonda, did you still want to speak? Or?
I witnessed that. I've almost hit a couple of kids before you get to the top of that hill. If you're coming this way, you can't see over the hill, and that traffic has really picked up since. I mean, it's even in the winter time we've seen a lot, and I just don't want to see a kid get hit right there.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see anybody hurt.
Well, I think you'll be pleased with some of the discussion under the manager's report. Okay, thank you. Connie Johnson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think most of you know me, and I've got to know a lot of you. I'm Connie from the Best Western. My opinion is that we keep the EMS fee the same for another year due to the hardships the hotels are having right now. Currently, my hotel in the last 28 days, we're down 38%. Year to date, we're down 32%. For April, the comp set is down 3.8. Mid-scale hotels are down 5%. In this area, we have 1,108 rooms to fill in our area. Right now, we're still not a tourist destination. We get some good business from the bridge, obviously, but it's not enough to fill the hotels every week. Right now, for us, the business is not here. I've always said we have so many hotels here to fill, but we're still not a tourist destination. I know, Joe, you said to me, well, Connie, wherever we travel, we pay all these different fees, which is very true. But for the city of Bridgeport, people still don't consider us a tourist destination, so therefore, they don't want to pay it. We're really struggling with government people because government people are on our per diem, so they don't understand that when they have to pay the extra $3, they're not getting reimbursed for the extra $3. That's what I'm hearing. So if they stay 5-10 nights with us, that really adds up. I just want to read a couple things that some people sent to me today that couldn't be here, and they would ask if I would read this. This first one is from Christina Jenkins, and she's from the Hampton. She says, I understand the $3 fee is being used for emergency services, and we absolutely recognize how important those services are to our community. I totally agree with that. However, from a business perspective, this fee is having a real impact. Even small added cost influence customer decisions, especially in the competitive market where guests are comparing total price. She says from July 25th through April 26th, the fee generated approximately $45,000 for just one hotel. When you consider the total across all properties, this amount is quite significant. As businesses paying this fee, we believe we should clearly understand where the money is going and how it is being used. And looking ahead, if the fee is increased, it could cost us even more business. We are already hearing from guests that they can travel 10 to 20 miles down the road and avoid this fee entirely, which puts our area at a disadvantage. She says we cannot support an increase to the fee without clear transparency, especially when it has the potential to push business outside our community. That was from the Hampton, and this is just something that the lady from the Holiday Inn sent out. She says, comparing the period of July 1st, 25th through April 30th, 26 against the same period the prior year, government room nights 2024 to 25 was 973. Government room nights 25 to 26 is now 668. So we are feeling it. And a lot of the things that I know that I'm seeing is the cost of us doing business. Is you guys don't get to see a P&L, you see a STAR report. Well, if you see that Connie made $150,000 in room revenue, what you don't see is that we paid out $30,000 in franchise fees, or that we paid out $15,000 in electric, $5,000 in gas, $10,000 in water, and the list just goes on. And that's if you hope that your boiler doesn't go down, or you don't have a water break or some other kind of problem. So I'm just asking that for another year, let's leave it at the $3. That way we will be okay. But what happens is I need to raise my rates in order to cover the cost of doing business, the cost of everything that's in the guest room, your linen, your shampoos, everything that's used in that room, all those prices have gone up. So I'm just asking that let's leave it at the $3 for another year, and hopefully by then things will be better. I'll be honest with you, my hotel is a big oil and gas company. Rhonda books 30 rooms in our hotel for 60 nights. You charge them $3 per night, it soon adds up. One of the things I wanted to mention that I'd like for you to also think about is if somebody comes into the city of Bridgeport, they stay 10, 20, 30 nights. What if after 10 nights, what if we waive the $3 fee? I don't know, I just thought something to keep the incentive here, because I know Tina, Rhonda, all of them, they book teams in here, they book rooms in here, they stay a numerous amount of nights. Well, we need to do something to keep them here. We don't want them to go up the road. That's all I have for tonight. Tina, if you want to come up and talk, if that's okay. She forgot to sign the thing. If you don't care.
Yeah, that's okay. And Rhonda, anybody that wants to speak, if you want to come up.
Hi, I'm Tina. I'm from the Spring Hill and the Town Place Suites. I'm the Director of Sales. I had sent some information with the Mint Intelligent Report from Marriott. The only thing that I took out was the account names. So did y'all have any questions about that report showing the differences in the segmentation that we were down in?
No, thank you for that information.
Okay. I agree with Connie. I think if we just leave it at $3, our hotels right now, I know you all base everything on the STAR report, but what it doesn't show is the individual hotels that are down in occupancy. For the month of May, our government business was down 30%. That was for one hotel. Our Town Place, year over year, currently is down 15% in room nights. That's a lot. So I think, and we had talked at the meeting, maybe you could increase the business fire fee. It had been a while, I think, since businesses had an increase, and residential as well, because we understand that it's important to have the income coming in for the first responders, but it's getting hard out there with the hotel industry to keep. And like I made notations. A lot of our guests, the transient guests especially, we call those silent killers, because they're the ones, they don't write reviews. They'll have a fit at the desk on the fee, but then they'll go tell They're people that are traveling through this way. Like, we have a lot of snowbirds or people driving through for summer vacations. Don't stop in Bridgeport because they put this fee on. Those are the silent killers that we call. That's what the hotel calls them. But if you have any questions about the reports that I submitted, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the council here in a bit if we could move that item up on the agenda after we take care of some housekeeping matters. So if you wouldn't mind, waiting in case any of the council
Sure.
has any follow-up
Thank
questions.
you.
Thank you. Anybody else from your crew? Connie, we all good? Okay. Thank you so much for your input. Okay, that concludes item 6, public comments. Item 7, report from the mayor. I just have 2 things I'd like for us, if we wouldn't mind, to take a moment, to have a moment of silence. We lost one of our longtime fire captains that is retired, Randy Scott, and he's been in the fire business for many years and has brought a lot to all aspects of the fire service. He was a local volunteer here, went over to Maryland, was a career guy, and came back, fortunately, to our department some time ago and did his career. So if you would join with me and please remain seated, and we could have a moment of silence in his honor. Thank you. Thank you for joining with me in that moment. Also, I want to speak just real quick. I had the privilege of attending the high school graduation ceremonies, one being I'm not sure of the terminology, but the awards assembly and graduation. And I was honored to hear the majority, I think maybe all of the student speakers mentioned the city and the government and the city employees and how much this city has meant to their education and their life growing up here. So I know sometimes we feel, the struggles of being up here and serving this city, and the city employees sometimes feel the wrath of the public and whatnot. But to see these young adults realize how important this community is. And Recorder Murray's granddaughter is one of the speakers who did an excellent job. And I just thought that was worth repeating, that what we do, sometimes hard, sometimes controversial, it does make a difference. So thank you to everybody, the city staff and the government and the citizens for making Bridgeport such a great community. And that's all I have for Mayor's report. Manager, do you have a report?
Yes, sir. Thank you. As usual, I have a written report there with you on your, at your podiums there. The Bridgeport Library, they have their summer program guide is out now, so you can, you can get a copy of that, and it has all their activities and classes and events that they will be holding. And they will also be participating in the Bridgeport Farmers and Makers Market this year in the children's activity area. Bridge Sports Complex, I listed a lot of the activities that they have going on there as well. This last weekend they had the largest sports trading card show that they've ever had at the complex, as well as a large baseball tournament. And this weekend we'll be hosting a softball tournament and a soccer tournament at the event. Engineering department, they reported that Terracon, who is doing the work out at the lakes, they presented us with their first draft of the construction documents and everything that will allow us to bid out the first phase of repairs at Deegan Lake Dam. So we hope to have that out, and we hope to have everything back and have an August construction time for that. The fire department, Chief Pig reported that all 8 candidates have finished the academy that they set up and have gone to their respective shifts, and they are getting oriented with the 24-hour shift life. And he gave you some figures on their number of calls from the last 7 days alone, and you can see how busy they are down there. The IT department, we did a complete phone upgrade citywide, and we've been training on those and learning how to use those. And it has some online capability using a program called WebEx that will forward to our cell phones, and we can make calls from our cell phones without sharing our personal cell phones with the entire community. We will also, there was a little bit of cost savings in that because we've eliminated the use of some servers. So. Parks and Recreation, we had a good opening weekend despite the unpredictable weather. So we were one of the only pools that tried to brave opening this weekend, and so we did have some good numbers on the sunny days. Looking forward to a busy summer down there, and we're preparing for summer kickoff. I know Miss Rominger is very heavily involved in that. I won't steal her thunder because I'm sure she has that in her report today, but that is this Saturday from 5 to 8. And I will report that we are hosting a kids zone at the Civic Center, and we will have different activities for children up there during summer kickoff, and I will allow Jacqueline to cover the rest of that. Public Works, they are working to install a new sidewalk from Worthington Drive from Street that will connect up to Worthington Village. So we hope that will help with some of the foot traffic up in that area. Utilities, the James Street Water Project, I think that's probably a good one to mention with the weather we've had the last couple days with some of the flooding issues that we've had on James Street for years now. So we are a little behind because we have to consider the entirety of that drainage, and it goes through the school board property down near the high school, and the high school had started an expansion project down there, at least planning, but did not allow for the lines that go through there from the storm drain and sewer lines that we have right away. So we've been kind of delayed working with them to try to get a workaround that we can still use our right of way and try to work with them so we don't impact what they want to do as well. So some of the general notes, we've been working, Lauren and I, with John Ashcombe here on the home rule application. One of the things that changed is there was a law that was passed that I think I made you guys aware of, that we no longer have to go through a referendum if we decide to change the charter for the election process. I guess that was a big problem all across the state. So there was a law passed this last session that that exempted us from having to go through that process. So we're not on such a great timeline now to try to squeeze this all in. So we've kind of slowed down. We're taking our time, but we looked at a couple other things. So I've already added one other item that a lot of communities around the country or around the state have done, and that's removing some of the old party affiliation requirements from our poll workers, police and fire, civil service commissions, and the building commission all have some party affiliation issues, and most communities through home rule have removed that because our stuff is nonpartisan, so it doesn't really have an impact on any of our elections. The big thing, on your desk today, I gave you a draft that Chief Rogers has worked on for an e-bike ordinance. Mark's put a lot of effort and time into that, and researching from other areas around the country that, and I think we found out pretty quickly that it's not just a Bridgeport problem. It's not just a West Virginia problem. It's a nationwide problem now. So, what I'd like to do is set up some time, let you guys review some of the items we had, and let you guys have a couple weeks here to read through. It's pretty comprehensive. The one thing that's really causing us a lot of heartache through this is that, and I'll allow John to jump in here a little bit too, just to provide you, but the state laws, e-bikes are considered bicycles. So any regulations we pass on class 1 and 2 e-bikes would also impact the use of normal bicycles. So, John, is that you have anything else you'd like to throw in?
Yeah, it's controlled by West Virginia Code 17C-11-8, and Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes receive all the same rights and privileges and all the same duties as a traditional non-electric bicycle. Now, there's a little bit more leeway in regulated Class 3 e-bikes, but the bottom line is whatever we apply to a Class 1 or Class 2 e-bike, we're going to apply to a 5-year-old riding a bicycle on the sidewalk. So there's going to be, some serious thought and consideration that has to go into passing whatever kind of regulations we want to.
So again, thank you for that, John. Again, please read through that, but, I wanted John to kind of report on that as well, that, the most of the states haven't caught up with the differences between e-bikes and bicycles yet. So we are a little handcuffed by those regulations. So, but I do think that, Mark's put together a lot of great ideas. We have some training. Mr. Lacaria gave an example of a kid coming down the hill who probably didn't follow the rules of the road, but those age children don't know the rules of the road. So, and they're operating, almost a motorcycle the way they operate. So, so we do have some training options that Mark's really put a lot of effort and time into getting those established, and it would be free to the public. There's some sticker programs where we can, the police officer would know who's been through the training, and and we could register their e-bikes with the city, and that would be not a mandatory program. But so there's a lot of good ideas and and I think it's a great start. But some of the stuff we're going to have to look at is how stringent do we want to become, and we need to be prepared that it will affect regular bicycle use. Just for an instance, if we put in the ordinance that you cannot operate an e-bike on a sidewalk, that means you can't operate a bicycle on a sidewalk either, because there's no really differential. So I don't want to cover all of it. Let you guys read that, absorb it, but make your notes and comments, and we will have a session to work on that in the very near future, because it is continue to be a problem over and over. So that's all I have today.
Very good, thank you, Andy. All right, any questions of the manager or comments? Okay, we'll move on to item 9, awards and presentation. The Bridgeport High School boys basketball coach, Dave Marshall, is here with us. You switched seats on me, Coach. And he will be receiving recognition for the NFHS National Coach of the Year Award. And Counselor Kenny will be presenting that, doing that presentation. So if you would, Coach, if you'd meet us here in the front, we would love to recognize you.
So it's my pleasure to award this to somebody I consider a good friend. Coach Dave Marshall's accomplishments have brought tremendous pride to the city of Bridgeport, Harrison County, and the entire state of West Virginia. We are honored to recognize him for being named the 2024-25 National Boys Basketball Coach of the Year by the National Federation of State High School Associations, one of the highest honors a high school coach can receive nationwide. Under Coach Marshall's leadership during the 24-25 season, the Bridgeport Indians completed an outstanding 26-1 season, captured the WVSSAC Class AAA State Championship, and finished the year on an incredible 23-game winning streak. His commitment to excellence, discipline, and teamwork has elevated Bridgeport basketball to statewide and national recognition. Coach Marshall's impact extends far beyond wins and championships. Throughout his distinguished 27-year coaching career, he has built a legacy of developing young men and women of character, accountability, loyalty, and leadership. His dedication to teaching life lessons through athletics continues to positively influence students, families, and the community. In addition to this honor, national honor, Coach Marshall was recognized as the 24-25 West Virginia Boys Basketball Coach of the Year, and previously received the prestigious Van Meter Award as the state's top high school coach across all sports. His overall coaching record of 459 victories stands as a testament to years of hard work, passion, and excellence. Coach Marshall also stands as the lone coach in the state of West Virginia to win both the boys basketball state championship and the girls basketball championship. There's two others. Yeah, at the same school. Okay. Please join us in congratulating Coach Dave Marshall on his extraordinary achievement and in thanking him for the lasting impact he continues to make on Bridgeport High School and the community. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I think the manager has a pin for you. Coach.
Great.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate you, brother.
We appreciate you and we're very proud of you. Thank you. Okay, Emma Ahmad, I don't think she was able to make it tonight. Clerk, if you would just make that recognition part of our minutes for tonight's meeting. Thank you. Okay, is it all right with the council if we move item 12.7 up above item, well, I guess it would be 12 because there's no reports or unfinished business. Any objections to that? Okay, then we'll go ahead, Clerk, we're going to move 12.7, make sure that's the right one, up above 12. Item 12.7, or I'm sorry, yeah, 12.7, consideration and if appropriate, act on request to amend the emergency services fee ordinance. Let me correct myself again, let's just move that above 12.1. Okay, so that'll move in there. Is there any discussion or action on that item?
So
Councilor Kenny?
I just want to make sure I understand the full picture because I hear what you guys report and then also look at the STAR report. And, you know, those of you that were in the meeting with us the other day, I think I made my stance pretty clear. I didn't agree with this fee to begin with. I'd like to see it go away and at a minimum as a compromise, at least freeze it for good where it's at now. But I look at the STAR report and it shows like a 10% gain in occupancy. I see a percentage gain in revenues, but then I hear you guys talk about losses. And I'm just trying to, that's just one piece that I'm trying to rectify and fully understand. So I'm not, and I hope you understand I'm not coming as a challenge because I think I'm with you guys on this, but I want to better understand that. Can you guys help explain that difference?
And it would be all right if you do, but I would ask that you go to the mic.
The STAR report is based on a year-over-year thing. It's all the hotels grouped in together. So I can just speak for our two hotels because it doesn't outline what hotels are. It shows which is reporting, but it doesn't show their actual percentages. I can just speak for Town Place and Spring Hill, and both of them are down in percentages year over year. The report that I pulled from Marriott, that is every account that stays at our hotel. The RFP is a rate for proposal that Marriott sends to us, and you know we have to fill out a bunch of stuff and give them a rate and all of that. Those are the ones that are marked RFP. The local accounts are the ones that I sign locally, and the variances is what Marriott tracks for us. It's not something that we track. But I then have a separate report that I have to do, and it shows year-over-year variances in revenue and in percentages of occupancy. My thing is the occupancy is down. The revenue you know, the 1% that goes to the bridge, it may appear that it's up because of revenue, but it's not necessarily due to occupancy. The heads and beds is what's moving on out. So if we could just leave it at the $3, that might not be as bad. But when I'm talking to clients now and saying that it's going to increase to $4.50, I hear so much grumbling. You know, I wrote a statement saying I lost a piece of business to the Days Inn because, and I negotiated the rate, a rate that we normally wouldn't even taken last year because I had to, and they still wouldn't do it. So I hope that clears up a little bit. I mean,
Well,
I'm not
not
sure.
really, because then, just sometimes I get a little too mathematical, but if you guys are down and the Star Report, and I'm just going by the occupancy line that shows a 10% gain, if you guys are down, then there's some other hotels out there that are doing a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know who that is because everyone that I talk to, they all say they're down. I
That's-
mean, I can show you, I did bring reports through April showing that we're down through April.
Okay.
So,
Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure I fully understand both sides of the picture. I'm
Yeah.
going back and I read the ordinance from last year and now having had the opportunity to go through the budget cycle, that ordinance seems to cherry pick certain numbers in favor of the ordinance rather than giving a full picture. And I just want to make sure I understand the full picture on
yeah,
both.
I don't
on
know
both
which
sides.
hotel it is because every hotel that I talk to, they say the same thing. They say they're all down in
Okay.
occupancy. So I'm not sure what hotels or what hotel is up. Do you? I mean, I really don't know.
That sounds like to me, I had a revenue call this morning with Best Western, and I have one once a week. If they're not down, they're flat across the board.
Yeah.
It's, I have,
For
she
your
sent it to me,
consult.
she says even the West Virginia market is flat.
Connie, I'm sorry, can you move up to the mic?
Sure.
Yeah, because the folks online can't hear if you're speaking from the audience.
No problem. I was just saying that every Wednesday I have a revenue call with Best Western, and we go over the numbers for, basically we're talking about, okay, do we raise our rate this week? Do we not raise our rate? What is everybody else at for the week? And that's what we're looking at. And according to her and the reports that she shows us, if you're not down, they're flat. They're flat across the board. They're not gaining. That's what I wanted to talk about a little bit here. And another thing, I did send in a report that showed you what percentages we've been down so far for this month, and every month we have been down so far for the year of 2026. I think, Joe, you have that. If you want to share that with them. I didn't bring it. I'm sorry, I ran off and forgot that. But that's a little bit easier to understand than the STAR report, because the STAR report can be very confusing. Because like Tina said, it's all hotels kind of combined. It doesn't necessarily mean that every hotel is up. Because in talking with different people, it doesn't seem like anybody is really up a lot. And the thing that I noticed the most is nobody's raising their rates. If nobody's raising their rates, then that means we're all in the same boat and we're too afraid to raise our rates. Because if I want to raise my rates let's say I want to raise it by $2, well then if I add $4.75 of that, I give that to Rhonda, she takes it back to a group, they're going to go somewhere else. That's just how it is, because everybody is very price sensitive right now.
Especially corporate business.
Yes, corporate business is very,
So sensitive.
and you all have to see it too, though. Everything is price, gas, price of groceries, everything is through the roof. So the people that are traveling through are wanting to get the best rate possible. That's what I'm saying that we're seeing. I assume you're seeing the same thing, Tina. But if that helps you. But Joe, you're more than welcome to share that. I mean, mine was a very simple
It
report.
was shared in the council
Okay,
packets.
good.
All the information that
Oh,
the
good.
hotel sent was shared in their council
Good.
packets.
I hope that helps, because if you look at that, those were all honest numbers. Those are not something I'm making up. Those came from Best Western, and this is what it shows month over month what my percentage is that I've been down. And we had a great year last year, but this year has started out really slow, and I hate that. I mean, I hope to see that it'll pick up, because I don't even think that, even I love the bridge, but we're not seeing the same results. But maybe it's just too early yet for the baseball and with the rainy season. I don't know, but that really helps us on the weekends. But we're still scrambling to fill during the week too, so I'm just,
And a lot of times they do cancel the tournaments and move them to Morgantown. We had a lot of that already this year where they've moved them to Morgantown, and you've already booked the group. But amazingly, I will have to say, I have not had any pushback on the $3 with the sports teams. But if it goes up, I'm afraid it will.
Councilor Almsher, did you have something?
Oh, sorry, that went off. I apologize. I guess I just have a couple questions. I think everything is down right now, obviously, with the economy. How can you quantify the exact causality of this causing a decrease versus the economy, oil and gas being down? I mean, I guess that's where I get a little more confused. And then my second question, if you don't mind, is what if the neighboring cities follow suit like they're supposed to, and then they also implement a fire fee? So
but the truth, but we haven't seen it yet. I mean, I hope eventually we do probably see it from the other counties. We just haven't seen it yet. I think that would be very helpful for us. That's why I'm only asking that, can we just leave it at $3 for another year? Then, next year if you want, go ahead and take that to the 475. I'm okay with that. And I think our other people would be too, because hopefully by then our numbers pick up and that we get more business in the city of Bridgeport to fill some of these hotels, because like I said, we have a lot of hotels to fill here.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the first question was, how do we know? I don't think we can ever say with 100% clarity that it is because of the fee. But when you're in the trenches every day and you're talking to people, that's when you know. And like I said, a lot of them are silent killers. They don't leave reviews. We went back through our reviews and we had maybe 3 from January, which I didn't put in my file. I should have, but I didn't think to ask for it until afterwards. But yeah, it's if we could just leave it at 3, give us a year to try to recuperate some of the business that's moved out. Then if we have to raise it, that's fine. Or maybe we increase the residential that hasn't been increased, I think, for 20 years is what was said in our meeting when we had our meeting. Or, if we have to increase the hotels by a little bit. We paid, was it $350 or $250? $250 in fire fee in April. For our Spring Hill. So, I mean, I would rather us pay a little bit more there, and it gives us a little bit more where we can negotiate rates better for our clients.
Councilor Kenny, did you have anything else? I'm sorry, moved on. Councilor Rice.
I got several things, but yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
Thanks for coming in. Very important topic. Council was dropped with a lot of information to review in the past, really since last Wednesday, I think, when the packet came out, maybe Thursday, Wednesday. And I think we need to take it under advisement. I think it's an extremely important topic. Your business is extremely important to the city. I would suggest a work session prior to next council's meeting where we can digest all this information, debate this information, get finance involved, because this does have budget ramifications. We have done some projections for police staffing, fire staffing, things that kind of go really deep with their tentacles. And I think we need to methodically make this decision. And I want to figure out something, but I don't want to do it in a rash way where we regret something. And from my seat, I would recommend a work session to have finance, have council, and let's hash something out. But thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say one more thing. Can you print a report that shows what we pay every month in occupancy tax? Like, I think you guys call it B&O tax, but on our folios at the hotels, it's our occupancy tax. Can you see where, okay, maybe Connie paid you $10,000 this month, but this month she only paid you $5,000? Because if I'm hurting, you have to be hurting in what I'm paying back to you.
That's what I'm saying with the occupancy too.
I'm sure, I know we can. It's quarterly B&O, it's not monthly. It's paid at the end of each quarter. So, and again, that's an element of finance that I think needs to be part of the discussion to kind of answer that question also.
We actually, at our Spring Hill, we have raised rates in order to try to offset some of the occupancy. So that's why I'm focused on the occupancy percent more than the revenue percent, because that's based on the revenue percentage, the one for the whatever percent, 1%. But it's whenever, like I said, I haven't had hardly any pushback on the sports groups paying. But as soon as I say $450 for the ones that are returning in September and October, I'm starting to see, what's it going to be next year? Is it going to be $6? So we just ask that if we could just leave it at $3 and maybe pass some of it on to residential or to businesses. I mean, we would rather see it come. It's easier for us to explain on a P&L why our city fee for fire fee is up than it is, why are you always down in occupancy, to our bosses and to our stakeholders.
Sure. Councilor Burton? Councilor Campbell?
There's two things on this, because I was on council when we passed it. I remember when we passed it, we talked about how we figured a lot of other counties would copy us, other municipalities would duplicate what we were doing, and nobody did.
Yeah, it just hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened. And the other thing that came to light after this thing was passed was the owners of these hotels. And one of the gentlemen was telling me, it was a fearful thought. I mean, Spring House Suites, and I'm not grading hotels and who's better and who's worse, but it's if the hotel owners aren't making any money and they're not happy, they'll sell it, and it'll be a day's end. It'll be something that we don't want. And a lot of our people that come to Bridgeport, especially government workers, FBI, they want nice places. They want to stay in nice places. And he's like saying, these Spring Hill Suites will soon be Motel 6s if we don't get the revenue, if we don't get the occupancy, because they'll just sell them. They'll just get rid of them.
You're exactly 100% right.
Yeah.
So that scares me, because we want to have good hotels in Bridgeport, and we want to have safe hotels in Bridgeport. So we've got to find the balance between the two.
As you know, we were for sale last year, and that deal fell through.
Yeah.
So, we're still under the same ownership that's been there. But,
I agree with Councilman Rice that we can take this under advisement and look at it, but I would be curious to see where council is on saying, hey, do we want to, I don't want to force a vote, but kind of see where the temperature is to see where we are. Because if we can just go ahead and let you hotel people go home and say, hey, we've got this down to $3 for a year, then you guys can start planning. All of this kind of speculating and maybe another 2 months or 3 months, and are we going to raise it? Are we not going to raise it? To try to get a temperature to say where we're going with this, I think would be more beneficial to the hotel people who've been so cooperative through this whole process. Because I remember back then you guys were not happy, and but you did it, and when you went through it, and we're grateful for that, and we're grateful that the fire department and police department have worked together to get through this whole process. So that's just my comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Recorder Murray.
Yeah, I agree with Councilman Rice, and I think we need an open session, and may even invite them to come up and give us a little more input and listen to what we're saying. Because I agree, it's very important, and we don't want to make a rash decision. So to put it off for 10 days, which is about what it is, isn't going to hurt.
I too agree, and I'll give you the mic in just 1 second, Manager. But actually, I've got two questions for the manager and one for the hotel groups. So what I think I'm hearing, it's not so much the dollar amount, it's the process in which we collect it. That kind of gives you a problem, because if it's in form of a tax, fire tax or whatever, it could be collected through third-party bookers, I guess, and paid at a corporate level, as opposed to you hitting somebody with a surprise at checkout that this fee's been added to their incidental charges.
Right. I want to say that a lot of it is still a work in progress because we've had a terrible time with the third parties because they wouldn't put that on there because it's not a tax. So a lot of times you have to collect that $3 at checkout because they've already paid through Booking.com or Expedia. So when they check in, we have to ask for another credit card to collect the $3 because a lot of these third parties will not let you put that $3 in there. So then you got the guests mad at you because, well, I already paid. Well, you did already pay, but you still have to pay $3 extra because it's an emergency service fee here in Bridgeport. So that is, we've all been working all year long on trying to get that straightened out with third parties.
Okay, thank you. And I guess my statement is we do have a very short opportunity to discuss this. I agree with Councilman Rice. We should have maybe a work session specifically on this matter, but we would have to do it quick because you were going to say, well, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, so I'll stop there. But my question, Joe, if you wouldn't mind, when we do have this work session, and I'm sure we could all give you individual feedback, two things that I'd like to know, and I think you probably know one of them. What is the CVB's stance on it, their thoughts and ideas? And I'm really happy that this council, along with CVB and the hotel industries, seems like we've got a good partnership and trust.
I think we do.
And so I think we definitely will be able to work through this. And then, Manager, my second thing that I would like from a finance point of view is, I know just with my quick math here, in the $3, we want to generate about $600,000 to carry our obligations with the fire department. We have some commitments to the police department, which I think even if we suspend this, we should not negate that promise to the police department. And my math would be that's about an additional $200,000. So what I would like to know when we have our work session, is there maybe an unencumbered funds from 25-26 budget that would be available in July? If we could put that in some type of escrow fund for the police department. So if we do suspend this, the police department's still on track with their projects and plans. And like I said, I'm sure all the other council will have ideas and things that they would like, brought forth. But that's all I have on that. Manager, I know you had some things you wanted to say.
No, I was just going to say kind of what you alluded to, that, this would be any changes that we would make in any regard, anything that you guys would agree to and vote upon. If it does change the ordinance, it would require 2 readings of an ordinance. And in order to do that, we would have to have that at both of the June sessions. So I'd probably recommend a midweek next week special session to try to get some information back. But I'll work with the mayor in the tomorrow or Friday to get something set up. Our finance director's on vacation, so I don't want to set it up for Monday when she walks back in the door. So I'm going to give her some time to look at this as well. So, but you also in your packet, there was if you guys saw that, it went out as an email earlier after this, but it explained the funds that come in from the emergency services fee. It explained the funds that come in from the hotel motel fee, hotel motel tax, as well as the 1% sales tax. So there was a lot of information in there as well from that as well. So we could take a look at. So.
Thank you. And as promised, Councilor Kenny,
Yeah.
I'm back to you.
So I want to put this out there now, one, so it's public, and two, so the city can work on some of this information, because, I was looking at some of the math, looking at some of the numbers, and, I think what gets lost is, again, that full picture. So we want this $3 fee, but every hotel's paying thousands of dollars a year in fire fees. So you're already helping us out there, just in the fire fee alone. And then our single biggest source of revenue, as I see it here, is $9 million for B&O. How much of that B&O is coming from the hotels and the transients? And that's the term that was used. I say that because that's the term that was used in the ordinance. So $9 million plus $1.3 million coming from a hotel motel tax. You guys are already pulling your weight. The people that are coming through here visiting us, that we say we want you to come here. Please spend your money here, come to the tournaments, that's all great stuff. And then we say, oh, by the way, you're a burden, which is essentially what that ordinance says, you're a burden. So give us a little bit more money. when there's already millions of dollars being generated through businesses, through the money that they're spending. Now, I know there's no way we can go in and figure out how much specifically is coming from those transient people, but daggone, it's got to be a pretty significant chunk when you think about these people that are staying long-term, the oil and gas folks that are staying there long-term, that's essentially their home. A lot of them are probably eating out quite a bit. If they're not, they're spending money in our grocery stores and in our department stores to take care of themselves. So there's more taxes coming. We're already charging 7% taxes, which to me seems like an exorbitant amount because we had the 1% for the bridge. So we're already asking a heck of a lot from our transients coming through here. So I'd love to know what that percentage is specifically from the hotels of that $9 million from B&O, because then we can probably extrapolate to a certain degree to find out just how much more money is coming in from all the other money they're spending at all these other businesses. I mean, I just don't think we're being a very good host to say, hey, come, please, come do all our stuff. Bridgeport's a great place to go. CBB puts out these advertisements, hey, come to Bridgeport, trying to make it a destination, and then, oh, you're kind of a burden, right? And then the other justification for it, because to me this is bad government, are we, and this isn't an indictment on our PD or fire department, because they're fantastic. I mean, an ISO 1 rating for our fire department, it saves us so much money on our insurance, but do we actually have any special equipment just because of hotels? I mean, I drive around and I look at the fact that, the hospital is in our response area. All the big business buildings that are in White Oaks and Charles Point that are as big or bigger than the hotels, we can't possibly have special equipment just for the hotels. Now, I'm an ignorant fool when it comes to that, so maybe I'm completely off, but it doesn't seem like we have special equipment for that. Same thing on the police department side. Do we have special equipment just because of all these transients coming in? If we do, I'd like to see that, because then that could maybe start justifying it. But I also don't think it would change much in our way of how we man the personnel numbers that we have in both those departments, because we still have the square miles that we have to cover. So I don't understand really what that justification is. And gee whiz, you mentioned partisan. I don't want to get too partisan, but this is supposedly a pretty conservative area of the country and of the state. And the way I grew up, conservative is smaller government. And we look at what the blue states and the blue cities are doing by adding fees and adding taxes, and look at the outflow of all those people going there. And so what's their solution? Let's add more taxes because we have fewer people to tax. They're losing their tax base. Good business by the government is creating a welcoming environment where people want to come here, where they want to live here, where they want to spend their money here. And if they got to pay more money on taxes and fees, they're not going to want to come here. And then we're going to overall lose revenue instead of gaining revenue. So this to me is an example of government wanting more money, finding an easy way to go do it. Let's just go tax somebody that doesn't live here, that doesn't vote for us, so we can appease people that do vote for us, instead of making the hard decision of saying, hey, we may have to cut somewhere else. Because going at the police and fire department are two of the most important things that we have to support here. And I did the numbers, about 53% of our budget goes to fire and police, and I got no issue with that. And even if it went up a little bit, I got no issue with that because they're so critically important. We may have to make some hard decisions and cut somewhere else. So enough of my diatribe. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I think, again, I'll recommend that if anybody wants any specific numbers, I think that the police and fire could share their calls for services maybe to the hotel versus other places. And I think that's all important information. And I think that the manager will do a good job getting that all together for us. So if you let him know, then we can have a more broad discussion. And does that sound reasonable to you guys?
It does, but if we could just have it broken down by hotel, because last year it was based on, what was it, 3-mile radius or whatever. So every time there's an accident right out here and someone's called, then it also hits the hotels.
Because of the address.
Like, we all know that Brickside at least once a weekend hits us. If you're going to do a radius, it's not me calling, it's across the street.
Yeah, well, that's how the city anyhow, so that would be part of the stats. But no, we understand that. And I think collectively we could all, ask the right questions. And please, if you have any input, let City Hall know. And then it'll be an open meeting, so you'll be invited. And I know there's resolution, we just have to find it. And we will together. And we'll make this work for everybody.
Yeah, hotels work on RevPAR. I don't know if you know what that means. That's revenue per available room. And our town place last year, we were running 148% in RevPAR. And this year, we're running, what was it, Jamie, the last one was 118? Which is quite a big variance.
Yeah, see, that's where the star report shows the RevPAR is up 11.9% so far through 26
Yeah,
for the
well,
12 preceding
Not
months.
for us. I don't know who that is, but
I
it's
don't know
not
either.
us.
I'd like to know.
All right, well, thank you guys a bunch for your input and allowing us to put you on the spot. And please, if you want to speak, if you'd move to the
Thank
mic,
you.
please. And if you would just give your name.
So I'm Ashley Kaiser. I'm with the Holiday Inn Express. I kind of want to speak a little bit briefly on some of the points that were already touched. So with that, seeing some of the comp sets, so we are actually doing pretty well. We are probably we are the first in our comp set, so we're probably the one offsetting that a little bit. We have been doing well for like our transient stuff, and like the other groups had said, for the teams coming in, we've not had as much of an issue. But we were the ones who, from July 21st, 2025 to April 30th, 2026, and then the previous year during that same time frame, we did end up losing about 32% of our government employees coming in. We've also had to, our sales director, work with some of our companies to lower those rates just to keep our companies in. But our biggest issue is with, like they had made stated, the OTAs. So with the OTAs, we are having issues sometimes collecting that payment because guests, again, when they get there, they're adding this additional fee. They don't want to give us this additional credit card information because they've already given that. They've already made the payments. And then if like a guest doesn't show up or something like that, we're still paying that fee even when the guest wasn't there because we were still collecting the money from those OTAs. So it's just kind of something that the $3 fee is having an issue with us. But if we're maybe able to change that $3 fee to a quarterly fee or something like that, that the hotels where we don't necessarily present it to the guests directly, so they don't have as much to question for, but maybe something we pay on the back end. Like, we're okay with doing something like that. We definitely don't want to defund or anything like that. We want to make sure our fire department is well funded, our police department is well funded. We actually, because we did have a few calls last year to help settle down groups at our hotel, we've hired more staff now. So we have 3 to 4 people working on our weekends. So that way this year we've not had to call any of our police force in. So we've tried to offset that on our own to kind of upset it. And I know I'm kind of new to this. This is my first year as a GM at this property. So I came in after all of this happened and I'm still trying to figure everything out. But those are just some of my suggestions. Maybe we can look at a different way to distribute that fee as opposed to having it as the $3 emergency service fee.
Thank you. And I would encourage everybody, if you've got information, if you would get it to City Hall between the manager and the clerk, if you guys wouldn't mind, if you'd get that out to us real time instead of waiting for a packet, and then that way everybody could get it as it comes in. Give us a little more time to research it. But thank you, everybody.
Will that work session be in here and streamed?
It would be an open meeting, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay, any more on that topic? Any action or any more discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, I will move to 12.1. Consider an act on the reappointment of Jason Myers to the Bridgeport Utility Board for a term of 5 years to expire June 30th, 2031. Any discussion or action?
So moved.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? Motion and a second to approve that appointment. Any further discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 12.2, consider an act on the reappointment of Don Burton to the Bridgeport Development Authority for a term of 3 years to expire June 30th, 2029. Any action on that item?
So moved.
Motion to approve in a second. I think I heard a second down there. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Motion carries. Very good. Thank you, Clayton. Okay, so now, I see Drew moving towards the mic. Consider an act on budget revision number 3 for the bridge fiscal year 25-26. Manager, do you want to start that?
Yeah, I'll let Drew talk about some of the specifics of why he's doing this. And so I don't want to steal his thunder on this. Monica did prepare some of the budget numbers and I would assume, Drew, you have that in your report.
Monica?
Or Monica. Sharon, Monica. Wow, I'm stepping back there, aren't I? Yeah.
I'm rubbing off on you, right?
But yeah, but I assume you have those numbers there
I
to
do.
share as well. So, Drew's going to talk to you about, he has some part-time staff, he's had some turnover, and he wants to consider taking a couple part-time, making a full-time position out of it.
So you guys all know kind of what the bridge deals with on a weekly basis. A lot of off hours, nights, weekends. And so over the last couple of years, we've had 2 part-time employees in our operations budget. Virgil started, I want to say, the beginning of May. He was called to Huntington and couldn't come back because of something personal he had. The turnover is exponential, and it's just not working. They're not bought in. They just don't have our ethos. I'm so proud of our operational staff right now. We have like 4 CPOs, certified pool operators, pesticide tests. They're unbelievable. We can do our own IT. We're kind of this mini, it sounds corny, but this mini city that we just kind of operate in. Yeah, we still need help from Tiny and Public Works and Billy from Parks, but we have a really talented group. And with the addition of new fields, I think I've made a mistake in next year's budget of putting 2 part-time employees in there again. And so in talking with Joe and Sharon, I really do believe kind of moving away from that situation to adding 1 full-time person would behoove us. Now, that comes at the cost of $33,000. It's not necessarily in labor. It's, the benefits and all the other things that go along with a full-time position. But our budget swings from $8 to $10 million a year. I don't believe that's a huge ask, but the hiring process, the time we spend investing in trying to get new people, we're probably spending that much money in just trying to fill that position, those 2 positions consistently. I'd really like to try to move away from part-time, especially if you think about ops, right? You're talking about bathrooms, you're talking about fixing plumbing, IT, all those things. It doesn't work to bring. And I know Joe's had some success. We had a really good employee. His name's Hayden, and Joe stole him. Thanks for that, Joe. I really do feel like this is the best way to go to create a permanent staff for us. Before we move forward with that, I do want to mention to you guys, June 25th, we're having our 5th year anniversary. Joe and I were laughing. He's like, "You made it 5 years. You're not dead yet." So we've made it 5 years, but I'm going to send an invite to you guys. I'd love to have you guys out there. But it is, if you look at all the memberships and all the people that have lost weight or changed their lives through that complex that the forefathers thought of, it's unbelievable. It's laughable. I'm going to hate my life tomorrow moving 14 goals from field 5 and 7 to 8 and 9. But when you really take a step back and look at the lives that have changed, it's insurmountable, right? So I hope you guys all appreciate that and see the vision of the people prior to you, or if you were there, maybe Hank and Don, you guys are old.
Thanks.
But I'll send an invite to you guys on a separate note. But from a staffing standpoint, I think this just helps us solidify good. We had a guy from, where's Chris? Where did Chris work? Public Works for Philippi for 25 years, and this is his retirement tour, and he absolutely loves it, right? We just have a fun environment that is not, I'm not trying to crack back on Philippi, but it's just a different environment that enjoys people, because you have to enjoy people and you have to enjoy your work. It's not like you don't have to engage with public, right? All of us do. So I'm kindly asking, and I appreciate your time for that transition, and I apologize for making that mistake.
Thank you, Drew. Any questions of Drew? Manager, do you concur with that request?
Yes, and this is something we have done on a couple different occasions throughout the 5 years where we've, you know, especially look at someone like the front desk operations. And, you know, I think the two things that we lack in some areas with trying to run the facility and the operations and the number of programs and the events and the visitors is the consistency and continuity. And we ran into these problems even at the front desk when you had, you know, part-time people, new people starting every couple of weeks, and then you'd call up and have a question about your membership, and they're still trying to figure out how to turn the computer on, you know. So we took some of those part-time positions and made full-time positions out of them. It does come with a cost, but I know that the customer experience at the front desk right now is way better than it was when we opened, and it's because of consistency and continuity. And, you know, I think with the addition of the new fields, you know, when that new facility is up and running in full bore, and we're going to build a new support building over there with more restrooms and stuff like that, I think, you know, it's something that, you know, I've talked to Drew a lot about slow growth. You know, I don't want to, you never want to overstaff and then have to cut back later. You don't want to do that to your employees. But, you know, I think this is a justified request, so.
Thank you. Any action on that item? Or further discussion, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Motion to approve and second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Or we don't need a roll call vote on that? Okay.
If there should be any further questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to item 12.4, consider and act if appropriate on a first reading of an ordinance authorizing the purchase of real property of Frida Wilson located on Main Street in Bridgeport, West Virginia. Manager?
Yes, so, you know, this was discussed last fall, and I think we've progressed along. You know, we do have, you know, we've gone through the legal process and everything that's had to happen, at least the property owners have. But, you know, we're at a point now where we have an agreed upon purchase agreement that I'm ready to execute. But you know, this would be your guys, you know, it would take two readings, but this would be your formal approval to move forward with that purchase. And I think you guys have known, we've had several discussions about the opportunities and, you know, some of the ideas that we have to use that property. We own property on either side of it, you know, and I think all the downtown activity, you know, look at what we're doing this weekend and what we could do with some of the things that we've discussed down there if we had that piece of property, how it could clean up downtown, how we could use it, you know, for several functionalities within the city. I think it's a great move, so.
Okay, I just have one question. I know the answer to, but is this going to affect any services? Are we going to have to make any cuts if we purchase this property, or do we have the availability of the funding?
Yeah, so the funding we looked at is the one-time B&O is where we initially discussed, and, you know, was discussed with council and you know, our finance director before. Because, you know, we have an inclination that, you know, if we create the type of environment we want downtown, that it's going to increase traffic downtown, and, you know, which could impact the B&O taxes and the, you know, the number of events and activities that we could operate down there. We think would have a positive impact on those businesses, which would have a positive impact on B&O. So that's where the money is earmarked out of right now.
So I guess to expand on that, no financing.
Correct, yeah. And also, you know, we have the piece of property up here that is going up for auction soon, and those funds will be, you know, put back into those accounts as well, so.
Thank you. Any further questions, discussion, or actions?
I make motion to approve 12.4.
Motion to approve 12.4. Is there a second? I'll second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so I just make sure I'm understanding this. Will we read this a second time at the next meeting? Because my concern is, I know you're saying it's coming out of the one-time B&O, and I was on board with this overall because we had the offsetting cost of the other properties we're selling, but going back to the discussion we've already had, if we're hurting for money, then we shouldn't be buying property, even though it's a smaller amount. If we're hurting for so much money to take $3 from transients, I don't think this is necessarily the best choice, even if there are some good things that can come out of it. So since we're going to read it again, I'm good with moving forward with this part, but it just doesn't sit well that we're going to spend this kind of money when we're begging for other.
Thank you. Any further discussions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 12.5, consider an act if appropriate on the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the purchase of unimproved property abating Compton Park in the city of Bridgeport, West Virginia. Manager.
Yeah, so at the request of council, there is a 3-acre parcel that's adjacent to Compton Park. It's a wooded hillside area. It was offered to the city years ago at a much higher rate than this, and at that time we declined. Since then, the property was auctioned off, and somebody purchased that property at auction, and I believe their intention was to develop housing in there. There's a lot of challenges to that property, in my opinion, for housing, and I think they probably experienced some of that. There's some utilities, some wetland areas. So it was listed locally. What we did through, council's authorization is we had the property surveyed. The property came in at $145,000. We made an initial offer to, again, pending approval. It wasn't an offer necessarily, but a discussion with through the real estate agent that had it listed. And the property owner is willing to accept that number, that we appraisal, which was lower than their asking price. And, it was brought up before that, what we use the property for, I think it could be for future expansion, but, in the meantime, I think it would be more of a natural area. We could have some wooded picnic areas, some nature trails. I see a lot of involvement with our scouting groups. They like to do a lot of the nature trails, pollination zones, all kinds of different natural things that we could do with the property. We have proposed funding this out of the hotel motel tax revenue that we have setting on. And I see Mr. Kenny smirking. By statute, Chris, there are certain things you can do with that funding. Parks and Recreation is one of those. Tourism-related functions are another. So, you are limited on some of the stuff you can do by statute on many of those items. Even the 1% sales tax to an extent is earmarked, through our application with the Home Rule Board for certain things. So, the last time we looked at it, I felt the price tag was not appropriate, but for 3 acres right next to our property, that, could be utilized, for a positive impact in the future, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Thank you. I would have the same questions before, but we won't be financing any of this project.
Correct.
We won't be cutting any services to move forward with it. So thank you. Any questions or comments?
Well,
Councilor Kenny?
I just don't understand. To me, this feels like a government bailout. It butts up against Compton Park, but it's essentially going to be a green space. Well, sounds like because it's not really developable anyways, it's going to stay a green space, whether we own it or not. There's already a trail going through there. Yeah, we could expand that, I guess, but I just don't think it's certainly not a need. It's an extreme luxury, I think, for that, and really it's more of a bailout. The Main Street, there was a good argument for that, how we can expand upon the activities that we have down there on Main Street when we shut everything down. As much as I would like to have a storefront on Main Street that's generating additional business, there's a good argument for the Main Street one. This one just, it seems like too much of a luxury to me.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Burton?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, it's a win-win situation for the park system that we have. We're adding additional green space to a existing a park. And, you know, I couldn't explain it any better than Joe did. You know, it's a win-win situation. So because of that, I'd like to make that motion to approve 12.5.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
Would you like to be recorded? Nay.
Nay.
All right, ayes have it, motion carries. That moves us to 12.6. Consider an act on a first reading of fiscal year 26-27 City of Bridgeport salary ordinance. Manager.
Yeah, so this is a procedural item that we do every year. In your packet was included the salary schedule, and I believe it highlighted some of the changes. All the changes that are in the salary this year were all discussed during the budget cycle, so there's really no surprises in there. There was the wage adjustments for the public works employees, the police department, some of the salary adjustments to some of the bridge employees, and then a few minor here and there that were discussed and vetted during the council session. So we do have to pass an ordinance. It does need 2 readings, so we need to get that done before the end of the fiscal year. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the manager? Any actions on that item?
So moved.
A motion to approve 12.6, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none or hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 13, council comments. We'll start with Councilor Rominger, please.
I'll piggyback off of Joe. So, yeah, summer kickoff is this Saturday from 5 to 8 in downtown Bridgeport. The ABB's been working hard on the event. The weather looks mild and wonderful. 80s and Up is performing. Ben DeFazio, Leroy and Giggs. The Civic Center, with the help of Parks and Rec in the city, always has a lovely kids zone. I think we're up to 14 food trucks. It's 3 hours. It's action-packed. Trivia. We're doing an 80s workout, and we're hiding the little duckies like Jeep drivers would have around town for kids to go find. So it should be a fun scavenger hunt for them. So I hope everyone can make it out. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your work on that project.
Thank you.
Councilor Kenny? Councilor Rice?
Thank you again for the motel representation. Great comments. Believe me, we'll get something done. Government moves a little slow sometimes, so give us just a little bit of time. Thank you very much. Public Works, a lot of debris, a lot of everything on the roads. Good job, Joe and company, keeping our roads clear with this weather we've had.
Thank you. Councilman Burton?
Ditto to all of that, and special thanks to the police department for helping out the 18-wheeler and on Stout Street the other day. I know he caused some damage.
Is that in front of your house?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilor Campbell?
My son played baseball Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And everyone was talking. They were the first ones to play on the new field. So a lot of wonderful comments from people that had come in from Tennessee and Ohio up there. So it was kind of cool. Thank you to the hotel motel people. I know this is like a turbulence issue because I remember a year and a half ago it wasn't that pretty. But I really appreciate you guys coming up and saying, hey, we want to work with you, and if you want to keep the $3, we'll figure out how to make that work, instead of coming up and saying, cut it. So I agree with Councilman Rice, just finding a solution to it. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Councilor. Recorder Murray?
Thank you. I won't say ditto, Dawn, this time. I got a couple quick things. Thank you, hotel motel people, for coming. It's a problem. We'll work it out. And Drew, I'm glad you're still here. I'm actually going to pay you compliments, so sit down here. Now, a couple weeks ago, I had to go up with the kids to play ball at Milan on their fields. Nice. They're not ours. I mean, I know I'm prejudiced, but the bridge is by far the nicest thing in the area, and the compliments we get are unbelievable. So I wanted you to know that we're not second in anybody's book, And like I told you in the past, I think I'm going to change my mailing address up there at the bridge because I'm up there all the time anyway. And then last of all, I want to thank the city and the police and everybody for the good job they did last week during the graduation. Now, I think I'm still tired from graduation because my granddaughter graduated, but I mean, you had a huge crowd, you had terrible weather, and everything went off wonderfully. So you guys, thank you for everything, police, fire, everybody, the whole city. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Closing comments, everybody keep up the good work. And with that being said, we will need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
No motion and second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, any opposed nay, ayes have it, meeting adjourned.
Good meeting.
Good meeting. Good discussion.
Well, and I really think, I know that can be, we can fix that hotel motel tax. It's just a matter.
There's a fix there.
That's right.
Well, I think I have it.